poor diet is the leading risk factor for global disease burden, responsible for 11 million deaths annually. Take a second and just let that sink in. 11 million. You know, when we think about our health, especially our brain's health, it's so easy to feel like the whole shebang is just down to genetics or pure chance. But as this really striking statistic from The Lancet shows us, the reality is far more empowering. You actually have an incredible amount of immediate control over the health of your brain and your blood vessels. And it starts right now, literally with the very next meal you eat.
Welcome to this explainer. If you're joining us here on the Rehab Haven Rehabilitation Center channel, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're framing this entire discussion around you. Consider this your ultimate, empowering guide to taking charge of your blood vessels, lowering your risk of stroke, and ensuring you can recover safely and really thrive. We're going to break down the science of exactly what happens inside your body based on your daily habits. And as you'll see, it's absolutely fascinating. All right, here's our roadmap for today. First, the power of prevention. Second, rethinking your daily diet. Third, alcohol and stroke risk. Fourth, the dangers of tobacco. And finally, practical steps for health. Let's dive right into some life-saving information you can apply immediately.
Section 1. The power of prevention and why you are completely in control. Look, the science tells us that what we eat, drink, and inhale directly shapes our internal vascular environment. We're essentially building the health of our arteries every single day. And right now, we're looking at the big three: diet, alcohol, and tobacco. According to the medical evidence, these are the absolute most potent modifiable determinants of stroke risk. And you know, that word modifiable is the real game changer here. It means you don't have to sit around waiting for a doctor's intervention or a prescription pad. By modifying these everyday lifestyle exposures, you can dramatically lower your cerebrovascular risk starting today. Moving to Section 2, rethinking your daily diet, we'll uncover the hidden dangers and look at traditional cures. We really can't overstate the foundational role of our diet, particularly when it comes to one specific, everyday ingredient that heavily impacts hypertension. Now, hypertension simply means high blood pressure, but in our context, it is massively driven by excess sodium intake. And when we say sodium, we aren't just talking about the salt shaker on your dining table. We are specifically calling out the urban lifestyle shifts we've seen, particularly in Ghana and across West Africa. We're talking about heavily relying on Maggi or Royco seasoning cubes in our daily cooking, along with smoked fish and highly processed foods. These are direct drivers of high blood pressure, which, by the way, is the absolute biggest driver of stroke. So what does this all mean in numbers? Well, 2,000 milligrams, that is the World Health Organization's recommended daily limit for sodium. To put that into perspective, that equals about 1 single teaspoon of salt for your entire day. But here is the truly shocking fact. A single, small seasoning cube contains anywhere from 400 to 600 milligrams of sodium. So, if you're tossing 2, 3, or 4 of these cubes into a pot of soup, plus maybe adding salted or smoked fish, no way. You are blasting right past that 2,000 milligram limit in a single meal. But hold on, there is some deeply encouraging news here. This 5.1 millimeters of mercury represents data from a major meta-analysis. It shows that reducing your daily sodium intake by just 1,000 milligrams, which is basically just cutting out 2 seasoning cubes a day, drops your systolic blood pressure by an average of 5.1 points. That is a clinically significant reduction. You are getting the exact same blood pressure lowering power as some prescription medications just by tweaking how you flavor your soup. Now, you might be wondering if making dietary changes means you have to abandon your culture or eat bland, uninspired food. Absolutely not. Actually, scratch that. It means powerfully returning to authentic, whole food traditional cuisine. Notice the shift here from the modern processed diet, relying on artificial seasonings, soft drinks, and fast food, back to the traditional diet. That means using fresh garlic, fresh ginger, brewing your own sobolo, and cooking with garden eggs. The real risk comes from departing from our traditional foods, not from eating them. Let's look at your practical, everyday plan of neuroprotective foods. You'll often hear doctors talking about the famous DASH diet or the Mediterranean diet as being the ultimate gold standard for preventing strokes. Well, traditional West African ingredients perfectly mirror those diets. Garden eggs, okra, and kontomire are totally packed with antioxidants. We should be aiming for at least 5 portions daily. Oily fish like mackerel and sardines, they provide omega-3s that actively reduce blood clotting. Get those in 2 to 3 times a week. And those sugary soft drinks, simply replace them with natural sobolo or water. Believe it or not, your traditional foods are your absolute best medicine. Okay,
On to Section 3, alcohol and stroke risk, a complex and, frankly, dangerous relationship.
This is an often misunderstood topic, and we want to deliver these medical facts empathetically and without judgment, because understanding exactly what happens inside your body when you drink is absolutely crucial for your long-term health. Take a look at this staggering global disparity. Globally, hemorrhagic strokes, which are strokes caused by bleeding in the brain, make up about 15% of all strokes. But in sub-Saharan Africa, that number shoots way up to roughly 35%. Why on earth is our region facing this massive burden? Well, the medical consensus points to a deadly combination: high rates of uncontrolled, undiagnosed hypertension, mixed with heavy and often underreported alcohol consumption.
So the hard medical truth is this. Heavy drinking, which we're defining here as more than 3 drinks daily or binge drinking at social gatherings, more than doubles your risk for a hemorrhagic stroke. The biological cause and effect is crystal clear. Heavy drinking directly causes alcohol-driven hypertension. It severely impairs your blood's ability to clot properly. And on top of that, it causes direct toxic damage to the walls of your blood vessels, making them brittle and much more likely to rupture. Section 4, the dangers of tobacco, and what we call the dose-response danger.
This isn't just about active smoking. It includes something we encounter all the time at social gatherings: second-hand smoke. There is a clear dose-response danger here, meaning every single exposure contributes heavily to stroke danger. Let me give you a quick picture of a blood vessel under attack. When you inhale tobacco smoke, the chemicals cause immediate endothelial damage. They are literally scarring the smooth inner lining of your arteries. Because of that damage, your body accelerates atherosclerosis, which is dangerous plaque buildup. Nicotine then steps in and creates a prothrombotic state, making your blood thicker and stickier. And if that wasn't enough, it causes vasospasm, squeezing those arteries tight. So you have narrowed pipes, sticky blood, and increased pressure. It's the perfect storm for a clot to form and trigger an ischemic stroke. But listen to this, because here is where we pivot to a remarkably hopeful message. The human body is incredibly resilient. The very day you quit smoking, your body begins to repair that vascular lining. By year 2, your stroke risk has dropped significantly, and by year 5, your risk of suffering a stroke approaches that of someone who has never smoked a day in their life. Quitting smoking is literally one of the highest returns single lifestyle changes you could ever possibly make.
Finally, Section 5, practical steps for health, how we're moving forward.
Understanding all this science is wonderful, but moving forward requires actually taking action. We want to focus on holistic, everyday changes rather than obsessing over single, isolated nutrients. So here are Rehab Haven's highly actionable, immediate steps that you can apply to your life right now. Step 1, just cut your seasoning cube used in half today and replace that lost flavor with fresh ginger, garlic, and chili. Step 2, take just one sugary drink you'd normally have today and swap it for plain water or unsweetened Sobolo. And Step 3, cook one whole food traditional meal today using fresh, unprocessed ingredients. These small, consistent steps, they create massive, life-saving changes over time. I want to leave you with a provocative reflection question to really chew on. How many seasoning cubes do you honestly use in your cooking each day? And what fresh, traditional ingredients could you replace them with? We really want to hear from you. Please hit the comment section below and share your goals, your favorite traditional recipes, and your thoughts. Let's build a vibrant community of prevention right here on the channel. Thank you so much for learning with us today, and please take care of your health.